College football once again. We're in week 10. We'll have to begin, as always, with my favorite team, the Oregon Ducks, who are ranked right now in 7th. They head to USC. USC is a tough place to play in. And I got to be honest with you, this weekend, it's probably a scary weekend, not just for Oregon, but the entire Pac-12, because of also Utah going to Washington. Oregon in this game, they have to win, and I feel like it's going to be a close game, similar to the Washington game, but Oregon wins this game. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, and the fate of the Pac-12 right now is in the hands of Oregon and Utah, as both of them are in the top 10. So I'm going to go with Oregon. Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State. Appalachian State. West Virginia versus Baylor. I am going with the upset on West Virginia. Navy versus Connecticut. I'll go with Navy. Boston College versus Syracuse. Boston College. Buffalo versus Eastern Michigan. I'll go with Eastern Michigan. Houston versus UCF. I'll go with UCF. Liberty versus UMass. Liberty. Michigan versus Maryland. I'll go with Michigan. Michigan is such a weird team that no one can understand. NC State versus Wake Forest. I'm going with NC State. Nebraska versus Purdue. Nebraska. Northern Illinois versus Central Michigan. Central Michigan. Old Dominion versus Florida. LNTL. Whatever. I'll go with Florida. The other Florida team. UTSA versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M. Acorn versus Bowling Green. I'll go with Bowling Green. Virginia Tech versus Notre Dame. In Notre Dame, I want to remind you all that Notre Dame, I predicted in the beginning of the season, it's going to go 8-4-9-3, and guess what? All those who said Notre Dame this, Notre Dame that, your season's done. It's done. It's done. No more talking. I'm going with Virginia Tech on this one. Troy versus Coastal Carolina. I'll go with Troy. Arkansas State versus Louisiana Monroe. Arkansas State. Army versus Air Force. Air Force. Georgia versus Florida. Now, this could be the game of the week, but I feel like it's going to end up being a blowout. I'm going to go with Georgia. Georgia beats Florida. Because of the fact that Florida has two backup quarterbacks they're using. So I don't really trust it. Kansas State versus Kansas. I'm going with Kansas. Once again, I want to say thank you, Kansas State, for beating Oklahoma. Thank you. Marshall versus Rice. I'm going with Rice for the upset. Why not? Miami versus Florida State. I will go with Florida State to beat Miami. MTSU versus Charlotte. I'm going with Charlotte. Rutgers versus Illinois. Illinois. TCU versus Oklahoma State. I'm going with TCU on the upset on this one. UNLV versus Colorado State. Colorado State. UTEP versus North Texas. North Texas. Florida Atlantic versus Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky. Mississippi State versus Arkansas. I'm going to go with Arkansas. Why not? Pittsburgh versus Georgia Tech. I'm going with Pittsburgh. The idea of thinking like Pittsburgh could be the only team that could beat Clemson in their own division at this point, kind of sad to think about that. Tulsa versus Tulane. Tulane. Utah versus Washington. Now, this is a game where, like the Oregon game, the fate in the Pac-12 is this weekend. Now, Utah does not have any success of beating the Huskies at all. It's a tough place to play in, and Washington just finds a way to beat them all the time. If there's a year for Utah to beat Washington, it's this year. But sadly, I'm going with the Washington Huskies to beat the Utah Utes, as I think right now, then you could just say the fate of the Pac-12 rests in Oregon's hands. Because if there's going to be a chance for a Pac-12 team to definitely make in the playoffs, both Oregon and Utah must win out to meet each other in the Pac-12 title. That is the best shot the Pac-12 has to make the playoffs. The best shot. Wolford versus Clemson. Wow, that team looks pretty tough against Clemson. We're definitely picking the upset and say no one ever. Clemson wins. Come on. Oregon State versus Arizona. I'm going with Oregon State. Texas State versus Louisiana. Louisiana. Cincinnati versus East Carolina. Cincinnati. Mississippi versus Auburn. It's Ole Miss versus Auburn, huh? Well, Auburn, you know what? So far, your season's proving us that Oregon should have won. Yep, it's kind of what's been proving it since Auburn lost to LSU, and that's the only time I'm going to say thanks to LSU, really. And I'll take, you know what? Ole Miss for the upset. Northwestern versus Indiana. UAB versus Tennessee. SMU versus Memphis. Now, this is going to be a good game, but I will go with Memphis for an upset. Vanderbilt versus South Carolina. Virginia versus North Carolina. I'm going to go with North Carolina. Colorado versus UCLA. BYU versus Utah State. Boise State versus San Jose State. Boise State. New Mexico versus Nevada. And Fresno State versus Hawaii. What do you guys have for this week? Leave a comment down below. Hit the like button, share it with your friends. Subscribe to me for more videos like this one. This is Teach TV Tank Mode. Sign off.
LSU contender. Because LSU always chokes games.